Hey, what's up, CD Besties? This is Chuck from the band Simple Plan. Check out my interview with Creativedisc.com, the #1 music website in Indonesia.
Hello, City Bestie. This is another Creativedisc exclusive interview with me today, Yuwono. And today I'm gonna take you back to my rock emo era in the early 2000s when this band simply become one of my soundtrack of the life with their songs. This year they finally come back to Indonesia and play Everblast Festival. I know you're not ready for this because we are about to have a chat with Chuck from Simple Plan. Hello, man. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It means a lot. Thanks for
I'm
listening.
I'm totally so pumped right now to have a chat with you because, like I said, you guys been the soundtrack of my life for a long time now. So how have you been, and how's everything going?
Been great. It's been amazing. We just put out a new record, so we've been back on the road after the pandemic. It was
Yeah,
almost a year and a half, 2 years of no touring, and now we're fully back on tour. We're playing shows again. We're coming back to Southeast Asia. We had an amazing year last year. We got to tour with The Offspring. We got to do Europe and USA with Sum 41. We got to go to Mexico.
wow.
It's been really amazing to be back on stage, and we really missed our Asian fans, Southeast Asian fans. Like, they've been so amazing to us. Like, they've been so supportive for 20 years now. First time we ever
Yeah,
came to India was 2004.
yeah,
So it sucked to not be able to come back earlier, but now here we are. We're playing this awesome festival with a bunch of great bands, and it's gonna be a blast. And I can't wait to be back in Jakarta.
yeah. Because I noticed that the last time you've been in Indonesia, it's like 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So
Mm,
what
too
is the thing?
long.
What is the thing that you can recall from that experience though? Because you've been in Indonesia for a couple times. I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh, we've been there many times. We know, like, our first time was 2004, 2005 on our second album,
Yeah,
and I think on every album we come at least once or twice.
yeah,
So definitely many times we play like indoor tennis stadium in Jakarta, and I remember like the shows we couldn't believe how many people knew the band and were fans, and we
hmm,
got to do a bunch of signings and like malls and everything, and so many people were running after the cars and
yeah,
like waiting for us at the airport. So it's been really great. We love coming there. The fans are so welcoming. They love rock. They love rock music. I think that's one of the coolest thing. And when I look at even now with social media and everything, I look at our Instagram or TikTok, and so many of our fans. I think #1 city in the world is Jakarta, where we have the most fans.
wow, yeah.
So it's a special place for us. We love coming back, and the food is incredible, and just everything, man. I just love it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to welcome you back to Indonesia to Everblast Festival that held within this week, if I must say. So when speaking about Simple Plan, though, I believe that everyone had the same feeling that we're never getting old when we heard your song. The songs always like brought us back to our younger version. Even when we listen to your latest music, though, it still feels the same as Simple Plan as we know of, yet it felt so fresh. How do you guys keep doing that? How do you guys do that?
Yeah, man. Like, it's like, I think with this last record, the the whole idea was to find what we love the most about our band and what our fans truly appreciate about what we do,
Yeah.
and like make a modern version of that. Like, I think that whatever, like, the music that you listen to as a teenager when you grew up in
Mhm.
school, whatever, it always stays with you. Like, for me, it was bands like Bad Religion and Offspring and, like, Pennywise and NoFX and all these bands. When I hear it,
Mm.
1 second it takes me back, and I still, like, I don't think there will ever be bands that will mean more to me than the bands that I listened to when I was a teenager. So
Yeah.
I think that there's a whole generation of people maybe like you who our music was important to them, and then now when they hear it, it brings them back to a time where life was maybe a bit more simple, you
Yeah.
know, and when it just brings them back to some special moments, and music has that power. It can
Yeah.
really do that. So we wanted to create an album that would give people that same feeling, but without sounding like it was just us copying ourselves and just trying to sound like 2004. We
Mm.
wanted to make like a modern version. And what's really special, sorry, is that while we were making the record and during the pandemic, pop punk became like this like super popular thing
Yeah.
again. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like so many artists, young artists, are making pop punk records. I think maybe because like you, they grew up with this sound, with this scene, with this kind of music, and now they want to throw it back. So in a way, like it was the perfect timing, and I think this record sounds even more modern and even more of the moment because of what's happening, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So
pretty cool.
yeah, that is so true because these past few years we know that pop punk is kind of like have revival moment. There are so many young artists that come up with the new sound of pop punk. Yet we still had a lot of what is like senior band, I must say, that legendary band that keeps doing the pop punk and still releasing new song of pop punk that we know of. So how it feels to create the same vibe that Simple Plan had, but in your 40s now. I know that you guys like in the 40s now. How it feels?
Mhm.
How does it feel though?
You know, it's interesting. In lots of ways it feels the same. You know, I think we still love the same kind of bands, the same kind of songs. Like it's still in our DNA to write songs like high energy, fun, like in your face, like really you know, like fast music. We love that. So
Yeah.
even though we're getting older, it doesn't change the fact that this is what really gets us going. Like we haven't changed, at least for me and Pierre, when we sit down and we write the music, like this is still what gets us excited, you know, like we don't,
Mm.
it's not like we're making this kind of music because we have to, and I wish we could make something else because we don't love it anymore. No, we still love that. Like we still love, there's nothing better than when we can come up with like the ultimate pop punk song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think what's cool, what's maybe different is that now there's new bands that are pushing the envelope that have different influences, and now in a way they were influenced by us or some like bands of our era, but now we listen to them and they're influencing us. So it's kind of like this really cool thing where
Yeah.
you have young people pushing you, and like you want to, it's not like a competition, but you want to make something that feels as relevant, as cool as what the younger bands
Yeah.
are like putting out. So you're, in lots of ways it elevates everybody, you know, to have like all these new influences, these new sounds, like these new take on what we do, you know. I think it
Yeah.
makes us more inspired.
Mm.
So it's really cool. I think the one difference, like lyrically, obviously we wanted to feel, we wanted to feel like you know, it's relevant to where we're at in our lives. We don't want to write about being 17 years old, like we're not 17 anymore. But I
Yeah.
think the one thing I realized is that whatever you're feeling at 17, a lot of time you're feeling the same emotions, the same
Mm.
stuff keep happening. Like if you're breaking up with your first girlfriend at 16, but if you're going through a divorce at 42, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's the same, it's different, and the stakes are different, and it's a different situation, but the emotions, the feelings are very similar. So I think that um we just write about our lives. We've always done that. And I think that no matter how old you are, there's lots of emotions that are like very shared by everyone. They're like super
Mm-hmm.
universal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Young, old,
Mm-hmm.
everybody can feel, you know, like that they're in a tough moment, that they need help, that they, you
Yeah.
know, everybody can feel alone. You know, it doesn't matter how old you are. I think these emotions
Yeah.
are all happening to everyone. So I think we just try to sit down and write something honest, and we hope that people can connect to it. That's always been how we write music.
Mm. That is so true because everyone can relate it. Though I know that what is it like for these past 20 years, Simple Plan is a top tier when it comes to pop punk scene, right? And I know that a lot of what is it fans loving you, and you got wider range of age when it comes to your fans, right? But I know that all of the people, like you said, can relate it to some sort of like story that you told through your single. That's what is like. I think that's the strategy that really brilliant that you had when it comes to writing your music, though. But when it comes to inspiration, is there anything that you can share with us writing your song? How do you draw the inspiration from? Is there where your life is, or you just like wandering around telling creating stories from people, or how's the inspiration though?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of everything that you just said. It's like
Yeah.
some of it is from our lives, what we're going through, and I think some of it is observing other people that we know, or even sometimes our fans, like we'll read, what they'll post on social media, or if they send us like a message, and that can be inspiring, and then there's also just like watching a movie or reading a book or seeing something. And for me,
Mm.
I come up with lots of the lyrics, the titles and the concept for the songs, and Pierre is like more like the music guy. And
Ah.
so for me, I just hear words. Like I'll read a newspaper article and I'll see like something like, oh, the antidote. Oh, wait a minute. Wow, that's such a cool word. I write it down, like that could be a song. And
Yeah.
then I try to work out of like, well, what could it be about? But I just like interesting word like jet lag. Oh wow,
Yeah.
I wish we could write a song called Jet Lag. What could it be? And then I work out the story. You know what I mean? Because like
Mhm.
I like to come up with titles that are a bit unusual for song titles. Like they're not like I miss you, or you know what I mean? That they're a bit like different kind of word, more interesting, like more original. So it comes from any place. Like it could be a conversation on an airplane. You hear somebody say something. You're talking to your friend on the phone, and they say something interesting. Like, oh, that sounds cool. And then I just write it down on my phone. And when we write music, I sit down with Pierre and I'll give him a title, and he'll like sing it in a really cool way.
Okay.
And then it's like, wow, it just comes to life. Like he just sings the word, the title, and you're like, oh my God, it's a song. And then we write the song.
Wow, wow, wow. That is a great thing to write some music, man. I mean, you come up with the title from some strangers or something, and you hook with that word, and then make the music out of it. It's so inspirational, and I hope that people that listening to this or watching this interview can be inspired as well. But speaking
Yeah, it
of,
could come from anywhere. That's the
yeah,
thing. People have to realize like you can't wait for inspiration to hit you. Like the way that we do it is like when you're writing a record, everywhere you go, you always keep your like antennas open, and you're
yeah,
always listening. And then you just sit down and you do it, and you try every day. Like every day, like when we write a record, every day at like 11 we get together and we start working. And if we come up with something, awesome. If we don't, we try again the next day.
wow, wow. That is so great. That is the most valuable what is like information that we have to the process of making music from Simple Plan. So speaking of fans though, Chuck, especially in Indonesia, you told us before that Indonesian fans is one of the what is it like the most dedicated fans that a Simple Plan had. How do you see them? How do you see Indonesian fans in your point of view though?
Just really passionate, like whether it's on social media or when we
Mm-hmm.
go there in person. And I know that for a long time, not many bands were gonna, play shows in Indonesia for a while. Like especially in the early 2000s, I remember there wasn't a lot of bands coming. So I think when we
Yeah.
were coming to play shows, it was always important for us to play all over the world. Like there was only two other bands that were, like everywhere we would go, we would ask like, hey, who was there recently? And it was like Black Eyed Peas and Linkin Park and Simple Plan. Like we were going everywhere. And it really struck me just how much they appreciated the fact that bands were coming to play for them in their country,
Mm-hmm.
and so enthusiastic and passionate, and just like, and really like knowledgeable about music and bands and like just and just really fun as a crowd. Like they're really rowdy and cool and you could tell like they like when you look at social media, like they're liking everything, they're commenting, they're really responsive, like they're super fan, you know, which I'm so grateful that we have that. And it's and the shows are just crazy fun. Everybody's singing, everybody's having a great time. It's just a really cool vibe, man. Like it's like
Yeah.
Southeast Asia in general. I love playing there. I feel like people are there's just like I don't know, people are just very welcoming and they feel like so happy you're there. They want to make sure you have a great time in their country, you know?
Yeah.
And they're
Ah,
proud of their country and they should be, you know, and they want to share everything, which is really cool.
I cannot wait to finally have you here in Indonesia again and experience once more in my life, seeing Simple Plan back in our stage in Indonesia and screaming on top of my lungs the songs that I really, really love. So to wrap up this interview, Chuck, is there any message to your Indonesian fans watching this interview?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for waiting for us like all these years. You know, we wanted to come back way earlier and it was tough with the pandemic. So thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for all your support. It's because of people like you, the guys, that we still get to do what we love the most in the world, which is, you know, being this band and touring and playing shows. And to me, like it never gets old. Like the fact that, you know, tomorrow night I'm jumping on the plane and I'm gonna travel like 25 hours and I'm gonna land in Jakarta, you know, and there's gonna be people that are waiting for us and that have been listening to our music and you know, like what I always think back of when we were young kids in our parents' basement. That was like the dream, you know. One day we're gonna go to, you know, Australia, Japan, you know, we're gonna go to Southeast Asia, we're gonna go to South America. People will know our band and will know our songs. And now, 24 years after we first formed the band, people are it's happening. It's you
Yeah.
know, and it keeps and we're so thank you. I just want to say thank you. That's all. You know, thank you for giving us that chance. It's really special. And we're gonna put on a hell of a show for you at Everblast Festival.
Yes, and I thank you to being part of important life in my important part of my life throughout these past few years with your songs, and I can't wait to have you here in Indonesia. And thank you so much for this opportunity, Chuck. And I can't wait to see you in person soon.
My pleasure, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for the kind words and thanks for listening.